Back in Needham today, the entire foundation has now been placed. Mike is on the inside going through some detail for the slab prep, but let me talk about the exterior installation on this foundation first. Our last build down in Rhode Island, we had all Rockwool and it was set in a Tremco product. We talked about this before. We actually wet set it into a GC250, which was actually not approved by Tremco. We dealt with that in another scenario, but that is not the reason why we're using a different product here. The reason we're actually using this different product is that with using the Tough and Dry and the Tremco spray-on applied waterproofing, we actually double our warranty from the original 15-year warranty that Tremco would give as bare waterproofing to 30 years. Now, we could have used Rockwool on the outside, but the problem is it would not actually trigger that 30-year warranty. And with the sensitivity of the water in this basement, we wanted to make sure that we did get that. We're gonna go inside and talk about what we got going on under the slab, but before we do, this really dense foam here, this is actually structural foam fill. And we're using this, if you guys remember in the last episode, we talked about the haunch slab. Basically, your traditional slab haunches down and thickens underneath our structural walls. Well, underneath the slab, we still wanted that thermal break from the ground, so we used this structural foam here, which was installed in all of our haunch slab locations. Everywhere else underneath the slab gets the Rockwool Comfort board. It's a big echo box in here.
It is a big echo box.
I don't know, I feel like I'm walking on a pool cover.
The Rockwool, it's weird, right?
Yeah, well, I'm standing on foam here and Rockwool here. Walk me through what you have, where we're standing right now, what you have underneath us, and the plan from this point and up.
Yeah, so we finished the prep and everything. Well, first things first, we finished the foundation.
Foundation's in.
Done, complete. So then we came in over the weekend, laid out Rockwool Comfort Board 80. We got 3 inches underneath, but there's a few areas that we couldn't use that. We have a, yeah, we're standing on it. We're on, so there's 4 spots where we have a thickened up slab.
How thick does that slab get?
12 inches.
12 inches, and then everywhere else?
That's a 4-inch slab everywhere else. So 12 inches where we have structural walls. There's also rebar that gets bent through this haunch, and then there's welded wire mesh everywhere else. So we got the insulation in, and then we put our 15 mil vapor barrier on top of that, taped all the seams. Now we're getting ready to put in reinforcement.
So you got a sump pit over there, you got a sump pit in that corner. What's this here?
So that's our ejector pump for this basement bathroom.
So we couldn't get our sewer low enough to tie into the street without ejecting it.
Yes, it was really close, but unfortunately we were just a little bit too low.
Is that our sewer?
Yep.
So that's our future sewer right there. That gives us a pitch from here all the way to our street invert.
Correct.
At the correct pitch to get that out. So basically we have one bathroom down here, which is basically a powder room, I believe.
Yeah, it's not very big. So like you said, just sink,
little plumbing
toilet.
gets into this pit and it's going to pump up and out. Where's this going to live in the future location of the basement?
So we're going to hide it. We have basement stairs that come down behind you, and there was a couple jogs in the wall that would have been exposed for the original plan, but we're actually going to frame this right across, creating a nice little cubby here, keep the ejector pump easily accessible to get at it, and then we'll also bring in our water meter over in this general location. We got to keep it separated by about 10 feet, but.
So we'll actually come in, like you said, there's a staircase here, and you're just going to keep that wall straight.
Nice and straight.
Rather than jogging. So that jog and the foundation actually work to our benefit. You get a water closet, you get your ejector pit, and it's probably a nice utility storage or something like that.
Yep.
So speaking of plumbing, you got all your rough plumbing in. We took some photos of it, but I saw in your Procore daily log, you had a bunch of measurements. What were you doing there?
Well, just in case we ever need to find it again. So I took measurements off the exterior wall. Once we frame the wall, we'll know what we built it off of the foundation wall, but we have pictures so we can go back, and I know that it's 118 inches from this exterior foundation wall to the center line of that pipe. We know what it carries out from the ejector basement to that 90, and then also the distance off the exterior wall, the foundation wall, to each drain.
So you'll be able to kind of go back and build some sort of as-built. We'll throw that in the file, should we ever need it.
Yep. We'll just quick little line sketch on the plan. We'll save it for our record if we ever needed to go back.
All right, so this wasn't our detail that we talked about, but so what's the plan here? Because essentially, let me back up.
Yes.
Plumber installed, this is a future vent. drain, probably
Drain
going into a
vent,
vent.
yes.
And
right
he's
in the
wrapped this with a rubber membrane, essentially allowing this to move freely from the concrete slab.
Correct.
But this tape is now sealed to a piece of rubber that's wrapped and wrapped and wrapped.
Yes.
I'm calling you out a little bit, but our
It's
plan
fine.
to fix it is what?
We'll peel it back, tape directly to the pipe, and then rewrap it.
And then rewrap our isolation. Gotcha. So you were working through some details last week. I remember being on the architect call about some potential head height issues. And that head height issue was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, from here to here. That floor got really tight.
Yes.
So walk me through where we're at and how I'm gonna get out of this basement.
So we built this stairwell, but technically we're underneath our garage right now. So here's the end of the house. This is where your mudroom is. There's a door above us that'll lead into the garage. And so we have this 4-foot wide set of stairs that goes up to the back side of the garage, which also leads directly into the backyard as well.
So rather than having a bulkhead,
Yep.
we can access through that door down into the basement. You want to bring your furniture, it dumps you into this storage space, and then you'll have living space over there.
Correct.
Or if you go to Target and you have an influx of stuff you got to get in the basement before your husband gets
Right in.
home, you're right down in the stairs into the basement into the storage area.
Yes.
I say that because that's my wife. I'm calling my wife out, not anyone else's. So we'll probably, I'm forecasting here, but due to the fact that we don't want to be climbing through a window, we're probably going to set up some sort of temporary stair in this location because it just makes sense to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll have
As
some
soon
sort
as
of
we
template.
backfill, we'll have something set up in this area so we can walk in and out of here, and it's nice and safe.
Gotcha. So you're prepped for slab. You're not backfilled yet. You got
Nope.
waterproofing done.
Correct.
I just saw Dimitri from Chevcon was on site talking. We're prepping for frame.
Yep.
What are next steps? Are we placing this slab before we frame?
Yes, we have to.
Why is that?
Well, kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning, the haunches in the slab, we have structural walls. So we got walls that are supporting our first floor. This slab's got to be in first.
So
A lot of times people will wait, right?
Right.
And
You
they'll
get the
start
temporary walls,
framing,
temporary posts,
whatnot.
right.
Here, we're going to knock it all out beforehand and then start going up.
Gotcha. And one thing that he actually had mentioned when he was here is talking about, are we going to pin our plate for him?
Yeah.
And he said we don't have to if we put the slab in.
Yeah.
And to his surprise, we're putting the slab in. So
It'll all be done.
he'll be prepped, ready. He'll be able to snap all his lines in the wall. We'll get into framing. When, from today, how many weeks are we away from framing, roughly?
So we're about 3 weeks out from the start of framing, and the framing goes on for a while.
A while. All right, you heard it here first. Framing goes on for a while. And because Mike has gone vertical, he gets his off. When's your office trailer show up?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Because I know people have been asking.
I get my trailer, and yes, so we can have our meetings throughout the 20 weeks of framing that we get to jump into.
I really think that fits well with the classification of us being a bougie builder.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we'll see you next week.